This
that I
conference will
had.
now be recorded.
Great. I'm glad it's being recorded. I have a little sticky note that I wrote when I was talking with Alexis about this, and and I don't know where that sticky note is. It was all hit record, Tim. Don't be stupid. Hit record. So awesome. Well, yeah, we're here again, and let's go around the room and introduce ourselves, and meds if you're doing them, and all that good stuff. I'm going to start with Frank because Frank was in here before I was.
Well, okay. I got an early start. Uh, my name's Frank Austin. I'm from Plainville, Kansas. I've been doing this MS thing for 20, 25 years now. And I'm not on anything. I just let the sun shine and chart it on down the road. Just to give you a little information, I've been waiting for over a month for kidney stone surgery, and it's scheduled for a couple of weeks from now. We'll see. The last time I went in for it, they found a blood clot in my leg and they wouldn't do the surgery. So I'm playing that game. And Karen, Jennifer, are you going to DC this year?
I am.
Well,
How
we'll see
about,
you there.
oh, exciting.
Yeah. So,
That's really cool.
yep. So that's my story. I'll leave it for the next person.
Did you need any time, Frank, tonight?
Oh, no, I said everything I need to say already.
All right, sounds good. Sounds good. I can talk to you about kidney stone surgery offline because I've had three of them, so they're no fun.
Well, this is my third one. So,
Oh,
Gotcha. All right, and next up on my list here, I have Christy.
I'm Christy from Brighton, Colorado. It's right outside of Denver. Um, I am currently on Ocrevus, and I was diagnosed back in 2003. I'm actually hitting 20 years next month. I believe it was March 12th or 13th or something like that, um, that I was officially diagnosed. Let's see here. Yeah, it's just cold. I'm always cold. That's my story. So I got the baclofen pump implanted. It's been a fun ride with that, um, with the medications going up and down. Hopefully, we can get it all corrected here soon. But other than that, that's just how my MS story has gone so far. Um, but yeah, and I don't think I need any time tonight.
Okay, okay. I definitely hear you about that cold thing because usually in the summertime I get the heat, really bothers me. And like in the past, I don't know, week or two, I've just been getting super duper cold. So
Yeah.
I feel you on that. Before he runs out on us again, no, I'm just kidding. How about Louie?
Oh, yeah. So, Louis, from San Antonio, Texas, with relapsing remitting, diagnosed in November 2021, I think, and I'm on Ocrevus. Yeah.
Good deal. Did you
Yeah.
need any time, Louie? Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I'm good. Yeah, that's all I was gonna say. Yeah.
All right, cool beans. Andrea, you are next.
I am Andrea. I live in North Carolina. I have remitting, relapsing MS. I am in between drugs at the moment, and I would like a few minutes tonight.
Okay, sure. And Jen.
well, as I told you all, my name's Jennifer. I have secondary progressive MS. I was diagnosed in 97. I'm currently taking Rituxan for my MS, and I have perpetual urinary tract infections, and which I'm trying to figure out. And I currently take Botox to help my bladder, and that's the puzzle that I'm dealing with. So, and I don't need time to talk because I told you everything. Frank, I've got a bottle in my fridge, and I've got a
Love that
bottle of
cranberry
vodka. I've got a bottle of vodka for the tough days.
to go with it.
Nothing
Right.
right. You're gonna drink the cranberry. You might as well spice it up a little.
That's
So,
right.
yeah.
Absolutely. And last but not least, we have Karen here with us tonight.
Two Karens. Because I logged on with my tablet and I
Mhm.
could see everybody, and I prefer that so I'm not tethered to my my computer, but I don't have any sound. I tried to send a message that I don't have any sound, so I'm probably gonna. I'm a Gemini anyway, so there could be two of me until I figure out what's the problem. So I have primary progressive MS. I'm gonna have to step away from the computer. I have to take care of some things. I'm not on any medication. I did have something I wanted to talk about, but I can't remember now that I'm problem solving. Technology. So we'll
Mhm.
see.
Well, we'll hold time for you, so no worries about that. So we
No,
can
that's
always
not
come
the time. It's the brain.
back. Well, it's that West Coast thing going on there, I think. Okay. So me, yeah, I'm last on the list. Perfect. So I'm Tim. I'm out here in Fredericksburg, Virginia, and I have they re-diagnosed me as relapsing remitting. Yay! So I actually have a diagnosis, and I'm on Abagio. And uh, I can never say it when I want to say it. Adamantine, which helps with fatigue, and I diagnosed back in March of 2021, and yeah, it's an interesting ride. I'll probably take some time later on for myself, but let's go ahead with Andrea. You said you needed some time, so let's go for it.
Okay, thank you. And Frank, when I was introducing myself, I meant to mention that I have had one kidney stone and it almost killed me. So they're nothing to they're nothing to just laugh off. Oof, three. Oh, my heart goes out to you.
And
So
the first one was a killer.
yeah, yeah. Um, so I'm gonna try to get through this without crying, and if I do, then that's just the way things are, and you'll understand why I say that as I go through this. I started trying to listen to everybody's advice the end of last year, and I started exercising. And I got in with the physical therapist, and it turned out he was an orthopedic physical therapist and had no idea what Utah's phenomenon was or anything else neurologically speaking. So I finally said goodbye to him. I joined the YMCA. I started going to Aqua Zumba classes and going into the weight room with my girlfriend, but I mostly just get on the bike when I go. She lifts weights and I do a few, but I mostly just get on the bike. But I started Aqua Zumba and it was so much fun. The first day I got in the pool and I started working and really getting into it. Like I really was having fun and kind of I wasn't worried about falling down and overly heating because I was in the water and I just thought I can let go and I can just exercise to my little heart's content. And as I'm going, it's like my throat started getting tight and my eyes started to sting, and I felt like I was gonna just burst out into tears. And I thought, well, maybe I'm just getting a lot of those chemicals that you get when you exercise. And so I fought that feeling down and kept on exercising. And that happened 3 or 4 times throughout the class. And I just buried just buried all of that, finished up with the class. And then I went to the steps to get out of the pool. And every step up, I felt like I added 500 pounds to my body as I came out of the water. And I had to hold the wall to get into the locker room. And this woman in the locker room, strange woman, probably in her 30s, maybe 40s tops, asked me how long I'd been pregnant, which was a blow. Looking back on that, I think it was because my muscles were so weak, I wasn't able to hold my body, to keep my stomach in, um, stuff like that. I think, and I think I don't think I always looked pregnant. I think it was just because I was too tired to really hold myself together. And so I don't know if you guys have ever heard about the Tebow Foundation. He's a football player, and he does a lot of work with the special needs community. And on February 10th was the night to shine. And I don't think that was just here in North Carolina. I think it was a nationwide Tebow Foundation thing. And I was volunteering that night. And I knew I was tired. I knew my body was tired. But it's a big night. And so I go up there, start getting ready for the event, and I do what I can to help out. And I knew I was tired. I knew my body hurt. But you just push through it. I knew I'd end up having to pay for it. But I just wanted to get through the night. And then I started to cry. And I couldn't stop it. And I've barely been able to stop since. And it's not emotion. I'm not sad. And I'm wondering if other people experience this.
Are you on any type of antidepressants?
Not right now. I just went off. So when I was sorry, I'm just trying to grab a tissue. When I
No,
was
that's fine.
first diagnosed, I went through this, and with a lot of therapy, and they finally put me on some meds, and I finally stopped crying. And then I was on Cymbalta for 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
And I finally thought that's a really long time to be on Cymbalta. So I just went off of that in November. And it's now February. So what's that? 4 months? 3 months? And it was a struggle to come off of it. And my mom says that this is all depression.
From what I'm being told by 2 neurologists now, is that depression is very common with people who have MS.
Right.
Um,
But wouldn't you feel
and
sad if you were depressed?
not necessarily, because you know what? I like going through some changes with me having to go into a wheelchair and be 100% wheelchair dependent. That has triggered emotions I never knew I had.
Oh, I'm sure it did.
you know so you might be going through the same thing as far as emotion wise, that I was going through, with your working out. You're like, yay, I'm able to do the aquatics. It's a lot easier on my body. But it sounds like you may have overworked yourself in your aquatics because you got, I guess,
Too
overzealous.
excited?
Yeah, that you were able to do stuff,
Yes.
and it's with ease. But you may have, and then you're reaping the repercussions of your working out, and then you're going, having trouble getting, out of the pool into the locker room, and then that is just a random rude question
Right.
of someone asking you how long you've been
All I can say
pregnant.
is, hey, you know what? At least I look young enough for somebody to think I might be pregnant.
Right? But
Amen. That's exactly what I thought.
and I was just thinking, it's like that's the number one rule as a female. You don't ask another female
Ever.
how long, when are you due, or if you're
Anybody
pregnant.
watching this video, don't ask that question.
Right? It's
Ever.
it's like the golden rule of any female is you don't ask, are you pregnant?
They will tell you if they want you to know.
Right, right. So I think it's just a lot of those emotions might be hitting you, and then you coming off Cymbalta, and it's. I know that because it usually, from what I've been told, is it usually takes about 30 to 60 days, depending on the drug, to wash out of your system completely. So it's probably just not having that support of your antidepressant, and then all the stuff you're experiencing, like you're getting excited, and then you find the disappointment at the end that you can't even walk to the locker room. And so yeah, I think that's where the emotions might be coming and triggering. And I'm a walking crybaby too, so don't feel bad. Like but just little things will set me off, and I'm crying, and it's just like it's frustrating.
I had to leave before the night to shine even started. Like I I think people were just starting to arrive as I was literally sneaking out the back door, so that no, I didn't want, like, these people, it's supposed to be their big night, and they're gonna see some woman bawling her eyes out, and they're gonna immediately think, oh, something's wrong with her. And
Mhm.
then I didn't want to ruin their night, so I literally snuck out.
I've been there, so it's like it's just one of those things, like you're crying and you don't need the additional attention because it'll make you cry more.
Right.
And you don't need the empty, what's wrong? Nothing. No, really, what's wrong? You're crying. Nothing.
You're
It's just like
pregnant. No, you're fat. You never ask somebody, are you pregnant? I mean, I wanted to, and I'm like, oh, I guess she just got fat. Okay.
Right.
right. That's the golden rule. As a female, as any human being, you don't ask a female if they're pregnant or when they're due. It's
You
just
Mm-mm.
certainly
So,
don't do it with me.
Andrea, can I ask, and forgive me if these are ignorant questions, but when you were taking the Cymbalta, were you crying as much?
No.
May I ask why you've stopped taking the Cymbalta?
Because I'd been taking it for 10 years and I was just stable, and I take so many meds, and I feel like a walking pharmaceutical experiment, and I have no idea what these things are doing to my body and the chemicals that are being kept and who knows where and what cells. And even the thought of being on an MS med on a regular basis is hard enough to handle, but I get why I'm taking it, and I get that. Like, and if I need to go back on an antidepressant, I'm not saying no to it, but I
Right.
wanted I wanted to see where I was and how I would do on it. And my mom freaked out immediately when I told her I wanted to go off of it. And so, like, every time I have any reaction to anything, she's like, "Oh, it's because you're not on your antidepressants anymore." And I don't know that that's true.
Yeah.
Well, were you doing that? My first thought when you said you're crying uncontrollably, you don't understand it, um, you don't feel depressed, that there's a chemical, but that it's a chemical. We don't have our pharmacists on board because yeah, we don't have our pharmacists on board, and I can't remember. I do remember sort of like uncontrollable crying with MS. Has anybody ever heard that? I've heard
Like
it.
pseudo bulbar or something like
Yeah.
that. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, if it is connected to that, that's, I mean, it's not a happy thought, but it's still like, what's wrong with me? Well, you know what's wrong with you. Why can't I walk? Why can't I do these things? Well, at least we know. I mean, it wasn't really happy news to find out why, but at least I know. So, there's that. And then, did you talk to anyone? Did I hear you say you had a hard time getting off of it?
The Cymbalta I did, yes.
What does that mean?
Um, so they titrate you down because
Mhm.
Cymbalta can cause I don't know if they use the word dependency or withdrawal, but that's kind of
Mhm.
what's happening, I think, in layman terms from a non-doctor here. But I know that there are effects that can occur. So I was titrating, and then it got down to the point where he's like, pull the capsule apart and just take some of the little pills
Granules.
that are yeah, granules, and so like take half of it, and I did that for several days, and I was like, this is just silly. There's just so little of it there, and so I just stopped. And then, so here's the crazy part is this is the same time that my neurologist then said, let's take you off of Bifiratam, which is a cousin of Tecfidera. Um, but I don't think that that has the withdrawal symptoms like I've heard about with Cymbalta. So I started to feel dizzy. I started to have big mood swings. And that lasted a couple of weeks, I guess. But then I started to sort of even out, and I was starting to feel good again emotionally, not my body, not from the neck down. Um, and then that's when I started up, and I was doing fine. I started up the exercise, and I was doing fine. But then I feel like I pushed too hard. Like, my physical therapy was fine. And then I added the Zumba class, and I think that I really overworked my body way too hard. Um, with the Zumba class and having to do with my, not being able to hold my stomach in, and um, the level of fatigue that my legs felt after that class. And then I didn't want to just sit around. I sat around probably for a day or two after that. But then, you get to the point where you can't just sit around anymore. And so I started back up, like push myself, push myself, push myself. Okay. And that's how you build muscle, right? That's how you build things back up. But
That's how you build muscle, potentially, most normal people. But I hate to break it to you, you've got multiple sclerosis. We're a little bit of a special case. I mean, Andrea, don't push yourself like that. Give yourself that grace that you are dealing with some pretty messed up stuff. And I think, bless you. I think we're all the same way, where we want to be like as awesome as we can be, but slow and steady wins the race. Be like the tortoise and just don't push yourself, because you shouldn't have to pay like this. It's not good to see you. You're right. You have not been like this. We've been doing these groups for a while, and I've never seen you like this. So just, you know,
Mm.
that's all I can say. I don't know what anybody else thinks, but
Yeah.
Ironically, this is the first time I've seen you clear on your screen. I like it. It was always like you're always in a fog behind the screen, and I'm like, oh, finally she has clarity on her screen, and it's like, oh, but not the other. Yeah, I think So, did the neurologist taper you or a psychiatrist?
my general practitioner.
Oh, so
um,
he's not doing, I mean, he's not coordinating with the neurologist about the other, because whenever you take off two meds, you have no idea which is what.
Mm.
But I was just trying to look for Cymbalta, and I'm like, oh my God, it does seem pretty horrible. Like people have horrible with just, I mean, I think that's a likely culprit. And just straight up, I thought, would you say November, December, January? Yeah, that seems about right. And it probably was doing some good for you, but it doesn't mean you should go back on it. But it's hard that your general practitioner, I can tell you, they don't know. I mean, because my PCP, she's done a lot of research on MS. And I said, do you think anybody, when they look at my chart, knows what that means? What, non-relapsing progressive? She goes, is that a rhetorical question? I said, no. I mean, this is what's in my chart, buried underneath all the 12 diagnoses that I never had until I had MS. And she's like, no, they don't know. So, as much as you tell people you have MS and they kind of pretend that they know, they don't know. They I mean, even your neurologists don't know, but maybe your MS specialist does. Maybe,
So
hopefully.
it took a whole lot of research and a lot of telephone calls and whatnot, but I have finally found a physical therapist who says she has training in neurology patients and has worked with MS patients before. My last physical therapist, who I just fired, said he worked with neurology patients, but then didn't know what UTOFs was. And when I finally fired him, it was because he told me that there was absolutely no difference between physical therapy for orthopedics and neurology. There's no such thing as a subspecialty of physical therapy. It simply doesn't exist. And so I said, see ya. Um, and I
Good for
started
you.
a bunch of
And I've
phone
had
calls.
two neurology specialists, physical therapists. And the first one I had to get rid of. I mean, even my primary care, she's like, you don't have a therapeutic relationship with her, because she is real bossy. And even what they know textbook, you know?
Right.
They know textbook, and it says this and it says that. And and that's it. And then the second one, I liked her. She was, we didn't get into a problem, but at a certain point, it's like they don't know what we know with our own bodies. I mean, you only know because you're experiencing it. But if you hadn't experienced it, when you're experiencing these things, you're like,
Well, I'm
what the
finding it
hell?
out as I experience it. Like
Exactly,
this is
exactly.
this is weird to me. This is not the way that I have done things in the past. Meaning, if
Mhm.
I want to run a 3K, then I go out and I start walking a 3K, I start speed walking a 3K, and then eventually I build myself up to it. But I feel like I've obviously not built myself up to this. I went into it swinging, and
Well,
it
as
it was
Jen said, you have MS. We're not normal. And that's the hard part. Like, is just wrapping your brain around, I'm not normal. I'm not like a
Or
normal hot
this
guy.
is your new normal.
Yeah,
You
this
know,
is your new
This is,
normal.
and
That keeps getting downgraded. And but there is a Chris, it's true because when Hannah and Elizabeth came to visit, we went out to dinner and then after or even during it I said, we just pretended to be normal. Like we didn't talk a lot about a little bit about the disease, but it's like, hey, look, we're just out. We're just like normal people going out for dinner, but there's something that's not normal. Like,
but
well,
I
and
Right.
so
think
if anybody is watching this, especially anybody that's newly diagnosed, I mean, I was diagnosed in 2011. This is not a new disease to me. However, it has taken me 10 years to accept that I have this disease, and I'm just now starting to truly accept it. And so just, I don't know, just know that it's a learning experience through your entire rest of your life, I guess,
I
I
can
don't know.
attest to that
if
because
I understand you right, Andrea, did you say that you changed your disease modifying therapy or you're not taking it as much?
I'm off right now
Okay.
because I was diagnosed with irritable bowel syndrome before I was diagnosed with MS.
Okay.
And when I was diagnosed with MS, as most of you probably know, my choices were an injection, an injection, an injection, or an injection. And so I was doing an injection and I was on Copaxone and I was doing that every single day and it was horrible. And so this new pill went on the market and well, actually, it was in clinical trials and I was stalking it. And as soon as it was FDA approved, I think I was the first patient that my neurologist prescribed Videra to. 10 years later, different neurologist, and he's like, I think this Tecfidera might be what's causing a lot of your bowel problems. Um, and I would swing between constipation
Yeah.
and um, and so he wanted to take me off of that and see what happens with my gut from there. So that's where I am right now. He wants to put me maybe on. He threw out Kesimpta. We haven't talked about that specifically because I'm going shot. Oh, it's only once a month. We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll see. But for right now, I think he just wanted to sort of even my body out and get me down to a baseline, and then we can really have a better idea of how to treat some of the other symptoms.
well, there's always the choice of like Ocrevus or Rituxan. Those are twice a year infusions. So I mean I mean last I just had my infusion in January and I think it took like 2 hours for my infusion. So that's better than even a monthly shot to me. Is like get a 6 month.
How
Um,
how do you handle the infusion?
just fine, just fine. Um, the
I mean, does it
infusion
make you
actually,
feel bad the next day or that day? Headaches, body
nope,
aches, none of
nope,
that?
no.
I'm shaking my head because Dan, my husband with DMS, he takes Ocrevus and he manages it very well.
Okay.
And he doesn't have problems. What about you, Tim? What are you taking? I mean, I know you're taking a Bajio.
Abaggio.
Isn't that a
Remind,
pill, Tim?
yeah, remind us. What is that?
I'm taking a Baggio. No, it's funny because initially I was supposed to be taking Tecfidera, and then at the last minute they changed it to a Baggio. Um, and I'm taking it. It's a tiny pill a day. I take it with my Crestor for high cholesterol, and not really having too many GI issues with it. Occasional diarrhea, maybe once or twice a week. Um, but that's the only problems that I'm having with it. And that's not really, for me, that's not really an issue. But yeah, I'm listening to what you're saying about, wanting to do that 3K, the metaphorical 3K. And it's frustrating for me, and I can only imagine how frustrating it is for you to um, not be at the level that you want to be, but and not wanting to accept the level where you're at. You know,
Right.
that's a difficult position to be in. I'm also on Zoloft, and I didn't want to be on an antidepressant. I had people that I knew that were on antidepressants. They turned into zombies, and I was like, oh,
Right.
God, I don't want that. But I did I did go on Zoloft, and I've tapered that down to about 50 milligrams. So I'm taking, all my pills are tiny except for my fish oil pill, which I think is fantastic. I can
They're
take all those
huge.
pills, you know. But as a matter of fact, tomorrow at 11 o'clock, I go see my therapist, and I had to change out my therapist as well as, take the antidepressant because the therapist that I got now, he specializes in people with chronic conditions. He just had heart bypass surgery like about a month before I found him, or maybe 2 months before I found him. So, and it, yeah, doing the talk therapy and doing the Zoloft, I look at it as like my car. Every 3,000 miles, every 3 months, go get the oil change. Every 10,000 miles, go get a tune-up, stuff like that. And I just do that as as an oil change. I don't put it in my head that I might be on this stuff for the rest of my life because that's just gonna bring me down immediately.
Right.
But I just go, yeah, it's oil change, and just like with the car, and that's what helps me to do that. So, I'm looking at that 3K, race and going, you know what? I'm going to walk that race,
Right.
and if I'm feeling up to a nice little jog, great. But if I'm not feeling it, then we'll go back to a walk, and that's okay. And that's okay.
Oh, I feel like I've just been blaming everything on COVID. And, oh, well, I'm not exercising as much because the Y is closed. Or, I'm not walking around the grocery store or, whatever. I can't go see my favorite. I'm into music, so I can't go see live music because it's COVID and we can't all get together. And so, the world is kind of getting back into, I don't want
The
to call
swing
it
of things.
right. And so I think that that's part of like, oh, great, now I can go to the Y again, and now I can do this again, and now I can do that again. And then I did, expecting to be able to do what I did in 2019. And when I
Right.
couldn't do what I could do in 2019, then I thought, well, I'll just have to work 3 times as hard to get back to where I was in 2019.
Yeah, I hate to break it to you. You're 3 years older than you were in 29. And Andrea,
You're the
I'm
bearer
going,
of a lot of bad news tonight, Jen.
I know, but I'm going through this, and Frank, you'll get me on this. I have to fly, and I haven't flown since 2020. 29, no, 2020. Well,
I'm
I
getting
have
on
to
my
have,
first airplane in next week.
oh, well, good luck with that. But, I have to have somebody pick me up, transfer me out of my wheelchair into the plane seat, and then pick me up to put me back in the wheelchair, and then transfer me into the aisle chair. And I'm just like, crap. And I want to do this. I want to see Frank in person and the other advocates. But I'm thinking, do I really? I mean, I'm 3 years older than I was the last time we went. And that's like the harsh reality of what COVID did to all of us. It just robbed us of that time, you know?
Jennifer, you're still 20 years younger than I am.
Yeah, yeah.
What happens
So
to your wheelchair when you're on the plane? Where do they put it?
in the underbelly of the plane,
Oh my
like,
God. Well, that's enough to make you like panic.
I
yeah,
would think just like the same way, if you put a bag there, and they take it and put it under there, and then you pick it up when you get off. I think it's similar to that
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
but
area
if something
plane.
happens to the wheelchair, it's like, oh, sorry, Jennifer.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, yeah. And there have been stories. A lot of people's wheelchairs get damaged in flight. Frank is shaking his head yes, and it is scary. I mean, but I want to go. I want to do things, and
Right.
mm,
you know, just like you, Andrea, it's like I just don't want to be held back anymore. And if this is my new normal, then I'm just going to be a nag and drive my husband nuts worrying about flying every day until we go. Hey,
right.
Tim in Virginia. How close is Virginia to Washington, D.C.?
Very close.
Oh, yeah, we're like 40 or 50 miles away from you guys up there. So, and I work from home and I work for the federal government, so I can take the time off and come and see you guys when you're in DC. Not a problem.
Okay, so yay, that's amazing. That would be, let's just get a big old AnCan like group photo.
You can pretend to
Absolutely.
be normal. You can get together and pretend to be normal.
But
Oh,
you're amongst your normalcy, so it is normal for you.
And I really don't think anyone's normal anymore.
Right.
And
Well,
I'm covered
I
for
embrace
MS.
my strange.
yeah, and I know DC is really close to Virginia because my cousin, she's a lawyer, and she's a lawyer in DC but lives in Virginia. So
Okay.
she commutes to DC every day. So
I just I wanted to add um to Andrea's like through your last couple meetings like I feel that like went through and go through a lot and yeah, I think sometimes we probably don't realize like how much we're carrying until like something like a comment like that and then it breaks you and everything comes out that you didn't realize you had, you know. So I feel that and yeah, another thing that I tell myself too with the physical activities is we everyone's unfortunately gonna face decline. So I tell that to myself a lot. And it sounds like maybe you're still learning your limits and your boundaries, because that's happened to me. It's hard for me to talk about, because I don't want it to sound like I'm bragging. Um, but I rode the MS 150 twice,
That's awesome.
and
Brag
then,
away.
well, here's the other part. The flip side to that is that I was toast for like a month or two. But those 2 days were so important to me. But on the ride, I remember a day that I was like, um, I said it was so crushing because I had told myself I'm gonna do this, and then at that point my body was saying, no, you're not. And I probably shouldn't have kept going, but I did. Um, and I paid for it. And it was the same like you're describing, how you're training for your race. I was doing that when the ride was over. A week or two later, I was like, cool, I'm gonna be in the best shape ever because I just trained for this. And like, it's not an ego thing, but just I had this benchmark of that I was one of the stronger riders in the group. And 2 weeks after, um, I couldn't even do like 10 miles, and I had to stop. And I used to be like one of the people in the front, and that too like is like crushing. So
Very
yeah,
deflating.
yeah. So I get it. So yeah, I a lot of my days, it's like, yeah, I could do that ride, but everything else every day is like so calculated by what do I have to do today? Okay, let me just narrow it down to just one thing. Or if I want to do something at night, I take a nap in the middle of the day. So hopefully I could carry over. Like, there's so much to figure out, but
Yeah. There's
I don't
countless
have
hoops.
answers. Yeah, but I just wanted to say that I feel that, and travel too.
Hmm.
I don't know who are you flying with? Do you know or no? Your airline?
Me or
Andrea.
I think this week I'm going on Spirit Airline, and then I'm going up to DC in March. My dad passed away in 2020, right not long after COVID hit, and so he's going to be buried in Arlington Cemetery at the end of March.
Oh, um, okay. I was gonna say, because I would imagine it's similar with the other airlines, but at least with Southwest, when you go up to the counter, you just request pre-boarding, and that's
Hmm.
the end of the story. And so they'll ask you if you need wheelchair assistance, and that's, you can obviously like, say yes, and it's that was a struggle of mine to utilize that.
Right.
But I did, and it helped me get through my travels. So
Yeah.
that's probably something to look into.
And I don't usually use an assistive device to walk, but I think I'm going to take my cane with me, just one, in case I get tired walking around the airports, but two, just because people are nicer to me when
Hmm.
my mom laughs at me. She says when you pull that cane out, the waters part for you, because like if you walk through a crowd of people, people just move away and just let you pass with no problem.
Hmm.
Um,
That's one of the
so
benefits of a walker. It's true.
And a
It's
yeah.
just,
wheelchair.
it's true. Yeah, and of course a wheelchair. But I think there's a lot of acceptance, and I'm going through. I'm losing more function, but I can see like how much easier it is when you accept that you're just gonna be tired. I just indulge. I don't feel like it today. I go moment by moment. I don't push myself. I don't think there's something wrong with me. I don't I kind of wanted to get my laundry done, so I had to go out and get it. I wasn't going to do it. And then I said, no, I think I will. But I don't have lists. I don't have to do, I mean, I have to-do lists, but I don't have to accomplish them in a day or two. And if I push myself, I couldn't imagine like doing what Louis did. Pushing myself means, I don't know, I did 3 things in a day. That was fun. And then for 2 days or 3 days, I might not do anything. And I don't know because I don't know that many people with MS, but I'm kind of guessing we all go through this point of going, maybe that won't happen to me. Maybe I can, maybe I'll wake up. And so many times when I dream, and I dream all the time about am in community. I live alone and I'm always dreaming about being with other people. And when I don't dream about having MS, it's just weird. Like I don't have that. So sometimes I wake up and I go, maybe it was me. I think I can just get out of bed and walk straight. And it's like, oh, no, you can't. like,
Well,
and,
I I had a dream that I was walking around. It was so realistic to me. I woke up and I was like, "Oh, it was just a dream." I was so disappointed. I was like, "Oh." It's like I just wanted to cry. I'm like, "That was such a good dream. Why did you wake me up, body?" Because it was great.
I know I have these mystery lover dreams, and I'm like, that's interesting, but they're not so disappointing. I guess you can't. Well, as a reality of what what I can't what I want to say about you said. Well, 2 things, Andrea. For one, you were talking about your mother. And I was like, okay, everybody needs a nagging mother in their head to make them feel good, and and that you were worried last time about taking this trip. So you have that on top of everything.
Yeah.
And yeah, you have
Oh,
that on top of everything. It's not like, you still didn't say, I can't wait to go on this trip. You're still going, oh, what's that going to be like? So
I
it
am
was,
actually looking forward to it.
oh, good. But
But
it's,
I ran away because I wanted to show you what that I got a fan and I can put some water in it and it'll mist me. My little fan.
I
So
need one of
hopefully
those.
that'll.
yeah, you look, I mean, to be alone with this, so you look happier, at least sharing with us.
Yeah.
That it's just such a hard thing to be alone with. But I haven't looked in a while. I guess I get tired of being a full-time MS
Yeah.
person. You just kind of want to have a life. So, but I would read things from, I forgot what it's called now. When we had Amanda here, she go, what is it called again? But the MS blog out of the UK. I just feel like I get much better information out of the UK than here. And
Yeah.
think his name was Dr. G, but he had a really bad accident. So I was reading it during COVID and 2021. I probably even read in 2022. But there was a lot of people that didn't do well. And they said, why aren't I doing well? I mean, during COVID. So you don't come out of this, even if you didn't get COVID. Like nobody's coming out of this out the gate feeling good. And I do participate in quite a few online things, like one through Senior Center, because I'm also a senior, and music stuff. And some, I just see it that, especially people my age, you didn't come out of this 3 year, 2 year, 1.5 year of hibernation and well, now I want to get back to all those plans that I had. I'm going to travel. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. It's like nobody emotionally has come out of this just, and you're getting older. I don't know how old you are, but still, I
She's
can
Yeah.
tell.
29. Don't you
Yeah,
know?
yeah.
She's 29.
Apparently I'm young enough to be pregnant. I'm 53. Yeah, a little too old to be pregnant. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I can tell you, I mean, I kind of guessed 50-ish, 50. Um, Emotionally, I don't know where you're at on your menopause thing, but it kicks butt. It just kicks butt. And if you already have a propensity to anxiety or something, I mean, I just remember I was like, I I can't stand it anymore. I just can't stand it anymore. And I would just like, I just can't stand it. And it was like, and then I'm a Gemini, so I go, well, Karen, what is it you can't stand? I don't know, I just can't stand it. And I said, okay, so what would you say if your life was going to end tomorrow? I said, well, you had an interesting life, you had a lot of struggles, and you got through it. And I said, it's okay. So then what is going on? So don't underestimate being, because I had friends older than me and they were all like, oh no, it really gets better. It really gets better. And you're like, well, I don't know about that, but it really does. So you just like, you got like the hormones, the meds, the pushing yourself. It's like, how many things did you stack up and give yourself permission to not have permission?
Right.
Look
Hi,
who's here.
Alexa. Thanks for joining us.
Everybody! It's been a while since I've been in the MS group. I'm filling in for Rick tonight. He's in San Francisco, so it's great to see all of you. And Andrea, I know we won't see you at art class this month, so I'm so glad I get to see. I know, but you are going to be having a great time.
I know. And I'm so excited that we're doing a butterfly. And
I
of course, that's when I'm going to be I'm going to be traveling. And, but I will, you send me that link and I'll send you a picture. You send me the link, I'll send you
Absolutely.
my butterfly after I draw it.
And one of the things that we're talking about doing is doing stuff with glitter paint. So we're gonna be thinking about getting shiny.
Very cool.
Speaking of the art classes, Alexa, I quit getting notifications.
Yeah, so what we're going to be doing, Hannah and I are trying to figure out a system where we can put people in, because kind of how she's been doing it is people who register, she adds their emails, because some people don't want to get emails anymore. They tried it, they're like, this is not for me. So we're having a hard time figuring out like who wants to be on the list even if they can't make it. So okay, perfect. So Hannah and I are trying to figure out how we can do that. That's something we talk about every single week. So yes, Christy, we are working on that, I promise.
Okay. I was like, I did the first two,
Uh-huh.
and then I quit getting notifications. I'm like, okay.
And it was
And I just,
not that we didn't want you. I want to make
are
that
you
abundantly clear.
are you sure? Because I can't draw,
Me
but I can
either.
draw. I can draw when Hannah shows me, but I
Hannah
That's
can't
did.
why I
draw.
call all of my artwork that Hannah and I did. It's not artwork that I did. It's artwork that Hannah and I did.
Right. So, like I said, I can draw when Hannah shows me, but I
Absolutely. She's a
can't draw.
magician.
Yeah, I can't draw otherwise.
Me
So,
too.
but yeah, I
Can I show
thoroughly
you?
enjoyed it.
Can I show
But
you
I,
what I did at
Yes.
I mean, I go to the MS Foundation thing, and I did that last night.
Oh, that's awesome, Karen.
But I can only do that with Hana. I don't do it, but it's beyond what I did. What I did with this. This I did actually after the class ended. Like I did something else. And I just do it on the tablet. I don't want glitter. I don't want paint. I don't want paper. I don't have to store anything. I can look at it. And then before I think I used to get really nervous. Oh my God, I'm behind. So I kind of ended the class with this, and then I did the other thing. I mean, that's decent too, but I feel like I did what we were supposed to do. But this is what I wanted to share. I actually wanted to share something happy. So after I finished the class, I've been talking about how my right hand is paralyzed. It's getting more and more paralyzed. I can't I can't write with it. I sometimes can't. Occasionally I could write a few things, but I haven't been able to write with my left hand. It did like really awkward. So after I did that second page, that first ending of the painting where I went, that's the painting I wanted to do. I wanted to go for texture. That's what she said. That's what I wanted to do. I wrote 2 cards. and it took me a long time. I sent out a card with my left hand.
Wow. That's your
I mean,
left hand. That's some
that's my
pretty
left.
nice writing for a
Oh,
left hand.
also all the art I do is with my left hand. Even though I couldn't write, I just do it because it's like my inner child is just like, okay. But I wrote for the first time after the painting. So, I mean, how is that for like neuroplasticity? Like
That's
That's
read
awesome.
awesome.
that was just, and when I was in the class, I'm like, and I would never go to an art class. It's just like absurd. I go to the MS Foundation like, because I did class with Hannah, and it took me like 2 years before I even had the courage to do that. But I'm not an artist. I don't know how to do it. And here's a metaphor. I love when I work on my paintings, I used to get so anxious. And yesterday, I just felt like, okay, I can't do what they're doing because I don't have the right equipment. I can't do what they're doing because they're doing things with paint. So I'm just really confident, just doing my own thing. I feel really confident. And then I was happy with what I finished. Then I want to do more. Felt really confident. And then I wrote with my right hand. I addressed these two cards to two different friends. And then I wrote with my left hand, and it's really slow. I mean, I'm really slow. I didn't have any mistakes. I didn't have to scribble out anything, which I do with my right hand. And I just felt this confidence that, oh, I can do this. I can do this. And it was exactly how I feel when I'm painting, which I haven't. But yesterday I was like, oh, I can do this. It's okay. I can just do this. So it's, but the most profound thing I get out of doing this is I like each time I like my paintings better. I love what we do at AnCan. Those have been like my fun really things. But I start telling myself I'm really slow. I'm doing it with my left hand. I don't even understand the program. I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just doing stuff. I'm just doing it. I keep saying I don't know what I'm doing. I sort of stop saying that because people are probably like, but it always comes out good. Shut up. So don't do this. But I usually stay on like an hour and a half, sometimes just sitting here after it's over and make it. And I had this sensation. I refuse to not love my paintings. Because sometimes I go, well, maybe this is the paint. Everything can't be good. Everything's not going to come out good. I refuse to not love my paintings. But then I realized that I also go, I refuse to not love my life.
Good for you.
And it comes from the art. It comes from making art. It's so powerful.
It
Because I
really is.
wouldn't say beforehand I refuse to not love my life because I have a lot of complaints about stuff. You all know me, I'm a big complainer. But the art thing just translates to that. That's really profound.
Awesome is what
That
it is.
that's amazing, Karen. That is amazing. That's I that because I do art. I do a lot of art, and I run an art podcast and all that. And I'm known as the artsy fartsy guy at work. And to hear you say that is amazing. It just all right. I'm going to have to do cartwheels now. So that's thank you for that.
Yeah, I mean, in this, this what I did last week, which I don't know, this one makes me laugh because they were making, I couldn't do that. I knew 2 weeks in a row I can't do the things that she's doing. She had people make squares and do the squares and then fill it in with these things. And I just went, I can't make, I don't, rectangles. I'm just going to go freehand. So I had like freehand, I made freehand rectangles. Then someone said, oh, I like them better. And then it's, and there's just something about this that just cracks me up, that makes me happy.
It's
I
fun.
don't even know what it is. It's just something about this that doesn't look like anybody else's, but of course it looks like, actually my friend looked at the AnCan things and my paintings at AnCan never look like anybody else's because I'm on the tablet, but it came from the same direction.
Right.
Yes.
And I mean, I'm artsy fartsy in other ways, like creativity, but this one I just go, and I was reading somewhere they were talking about sometimes people get neurological diseases and they just can do art that they never did before because my sensor, I mean, I have permission. It doesn't have to be good. And then I even give myself permission, like, well, maybe this one's not going to be that good. But I just feel like, no, I have to love it. I have to find a way to love it. And I just find it, and it's just keep working with it. So
Yeah.
come to the art class.
Thank you for
Karen,
sharing.
Karen, do you have an app that you use on your iPad?
Yeah, I don't have
Hmm.
an iPad. It's just a Samsung tablet
Oh, okay.
that I got, and I got it because it came with a pen and I wanted to learn how to write with my left hand. But I
Right.
went to a neuro occupational therapist. Let me tell you how much they don't freaking know. And not only that, I got a ticket, but it was very hard to get an appointment during COVID. I can't remember if it was 2020 or 2021. It's really hard to get an appointment. I get this coveted appointment with the neuro occupational therapist. I bought the tablet, splurged. I was like, this one has a pen. I need to learn how to write with my left hand. That's why I'm coming to this appointment. I'm coming specifically for that. She gave me that stupid dementia test that Trump got. She's like, well, I'm going to ask you some questions because I keep saying I have cognitive issues. Well, you're a neuro occupational therapist, don't you know? Not only that, I had an appointment with a neurologist, I had a social worker, I had a psychologist. You don't have to worry about everything else with me. I'm here to learn how to write with my left hand. So she started with the testing. Okay, that makes sense. How much have you done? Then she's patronizing me and with the right hand. Oh, look, see, you can do that. Well, I'm not here to talk about what I can do. I'm losing function. I want to be able to write with my left hand. Oh, that's so then she's like, I'm going to ask you some questions. I'm going to say these 5 words and see if you can remember them. So it was that stupid dementia test that Trump got that he was so proud of that he aced. And she shows me a picture of, draw something. I always had draw something. And then it was like, identify these animals. Well, I don't know. I'm a city girl. I don't know what a beast with a horn on its head looks like, and I'm just getting kind of frustrated. Like, I'm here to learn how to write with my left hand, and you're asking me, I don't know, is it a freaking rhinoceros? I don't know. At least he got a camel, I'm like, I don't know what this is. Then it's like, here's a clock and put 10 after 11 on it. And she goes, oh yeah, you could, oh look, you can do that. I said, okay, we're done. We are done. We are done. I'm not, I don't need this. And then she started trying to give me a driving test, like, can you drive? Can you do? So I didn't pick up this pen. I bought this tablet and I did not pick up this pen. I'm like, and I was furious. And then I got a ticket that day too, because I didn't put my sticker on because I couldn't figure out how to, it's COVID. Yeah, I'm getting a ticket. So then she called me back. I said, well, and I asked her, have you ever taught anybody to write with their opposite hand? I mean, you're a occupational therapist. People have strokes. They can't, have you ever done that? And she mailed me stuff. I was so mad. So I never picked this up. So it's a real, like, I got this tablet for that reason. So it comes with some painting program. I have no idea how it works. Every once in a while, I figure something out. Well, then the next week I'm there and I'm going, I don't know how this works. So what I'm doing is not something so sophisticated. It doesn't have to be sophisticated because I'm not doing sophisticated art.
Well, I just looked at the clock and we're getting close to 10 o'clock. And I just wondered, Christy or um, Tim, did you had both said that you wanted time to talk? Did you still need that time? And did you want to, or am I totally imagining this?
No, 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 no. You're not imagining. Actually, I'm good to go. With what Karen was saying about the art program and how it's helped her, I'm ready to take on the week. Let's go. You know, I don't have enough art on my walls. I need much more, much more. Over here, over there, right in front of me. Let's go make some art.
I like art.
I didn't need time. I just want to say one last thing to Andrea. Um, when I first started on my antidepressants, yeah, my neurologist put me on Zoloft, and let me just tell you, I had so many GI problems with it. So I mean, yeah, it's great that Tim is doing wonderful on it, but I'm just saying if you have, I don't know if you have any like GI problems, it might not be the right fit for you. So
Right.
I would just be cautious of that. And I don't have GI issues. I didn't have GI issues. It just caused.
Right.
So, and I don't know. So I would just be cognitive of that,
Thank you.
when you're discussing um, antidepressants outside of Cymbalta with
Right.
your neurologist. Um, but I would definitely, you know, just take that information, and if if you want to try it, great. But just be weary that you. That's the reason why I came off Zoloft, because it was just causing too many GI problems for me. So,
That's
and
good to
with
know. Yeah. I have a very sensitive stomach. Very sensitive stomach. So, yeah.
but that's
Yeah,
all I wanted to say.
yeah, no, I'm going to echo what Christy's saying with the Zoloft. Yeah, if you're sensitive to that kind of stuff, it can affect it. The thing that I had with it is I was finding that I was grinding, well, not grinding, but clenching my jaw.
Hmm.
And when I was taking it, and I'm still taking it, but I had my dentist check, make sure that I'm not, busting my teeth either. So, but yeah, that's another side effect that I've had. I don't know, if you go to Zoloft, if you'll have that or not. And maybe a therapist. Maybe you don't need an antidepressant. Maybe you just need a really good therapist, social worker, whatnot.
And I
Maybe
just
that.
started seeing somebody. I have my third appointment with her tomorrow. So, yeah, I've started that up as well.
Cool
Lots of
beans.
therapy for Andrea.
I'd share my guy with you, but he's like almost 80, so he's not going to come down there.
Yeah, I have telehealth with mine. So, and my therapist, she's awesome. So I have that weekly. Yay. But, it helps. And then it helps for a few days, and then I fall off the track, and then I see her every Wednesday. So I just have to patiently wait till Wednesday so I can offload on her, and then she can help me work through it. And then I'm good for a few days. It's like a vicious cycle, but it's
Yeah.
great.
And that
So,
doesn't, yeah, and I get therapy at Kaiser, and it's always very limited what you can have. So my therapist, I knew her before, and then we ended because I was doing fine, and then this crap happened. But I think when you have MS, you should feel, it should be a part of your whole,
Yeah.
because it's always changing. There's always this new normal, and it's always changing. And yeah, and when I was diagnosed, this is how I found AnCan. My doctor, my primary care doctor, she looked horrified because I just she was saying, well, I don't want to. I hope you don't take it the wrong way, but I was wondering if you should have antidepressants. And I'm like, people who are depressed don't think about food as much as me. Don't go and make, nice meals. Don't have this creativity. Don't have, I don't think I was doing the art then, but I did other things. And I don't think I should be on antidepressants because I have a disease that there's no treatment for me for. I mean, that doesn't make sense. And she just looked so sad, like just so sad that she didn't have anything for me. I stayed up all night long. I don't know how I found AnCan because I was like in Europe looking on websites. I have no idea how I found it. And I still tell her to this day, I only went to that group because I felt sorry for you. Like, it wasn't for me. It was just I had to give her some good news. I had to be able to say something positive, not just like everything is just horrible. So it just you can't underestimate this having this kind of support. group support, having therapy, so that you can assess, is it the disease? Is it me? Is it?
It is the support that we all need and that seems to help. And speaking of support, I want to be supportive to you, Frank. Saw you finished your cranberry juice. When are you getting your surgery?
My
Your
surgery, my surgery is supposed to be the 21st
of March or February?
February.
of February.
Wow. So that's like a week from today?
That's like a week from today.
Whoa. Well, good luck.
That's the
And
same night as the art class.
I asked them yesterday, can I do the surgery and still go to Washington? And they went, oh yeah, you'll be fine by then. So
Okay. I look forward to seeing you.
we'll
What
have
days
fun.
will you guys be in Washington?
The second,
That
go ahead, Jennifer.
no, you go ahead because you're saying the dates.
The 6th through the 8th
Of March.
of March.
Oh, good. Okay.
Yeah.
Are you going to be there, Andrea?
Not this year.
Oh, I didn't mean there, but I know you said you were going to DC. I just want to put out also, I'm wondering with MS. I mean, I've always been sort of sensitive to meds, so I don't like taking meds.
Right.
But I'm wondering with MS, when first of all, they thought I had thyroid cancer, and instead of trying to find out with my MS, so I had that surgery, and that was 2018, and I can tell my cognition is not right. That it's just like very subtly not right, not right, not right. And I'm told, well, when anesthesia wears off, that shouldn't affect you. Well, that was before I got diagnosed with a brain disease, so that does affect you. And then I had some issues with hypertension, and they tried me on like 2 or 3 different antihypertensives, and I had side effects from all of them, like getting dehydrated, fainting, and all that. So I'm wondering with everybody, when you get a medication, does MS even predispose us to not good symptoms? I mean, I'm a nurse, but I mean, I don't know about MS and meds, but just personally,
I don't think the disease has any direct effect on how medication affects our bodies. Too bad Kim isn't here. She'd be able to give us a better answer to that. Maybe we should write down that question and ask Kim next time.
Well, I know Kim will probably
Good
watch this.
good to see you, Rick. Safe travels.
Good luck with surgery.
Yeah. I just think, everybody handles medicine differently. And if your doctor sees that you have multiple sclerosis and thinks that predisposes you to not being a good candidate for a medication, that's what they go to school for. They should tell you that,
Mhm.
I would
I
think in
hope
that.
I'll try to remember. I'm sure I'll have an issue. I don't remember anything, but I will try to ask the MS nurse because she's really been she knows, like I had a UTI and it didn't clear and I was freaking out and she's, Karen, you're not going to have a UTI for the rest of your life. And I mean, even that the medication that I got didn't quite take care of it, where always it just kicks it. I don't really get UTIs. I used to get them when I was younger, but I hadn't had UTIs in a long time. And then I got one like a year and a half ago. And I'm reading, when you have, and Jen, you said that when you have MS, you have a tendency to have UTIs. So then I was just like, oh my God, because it just felt so awful. And the treatment I got, it took it down the notch so that I wasn't like climbing the walls, but it still felt bad. And I do trust my primary care. Thank goodness. She said, it could take 2 or 3 weeks for it to work, for it to, but it was talking to the RN who said, Karen, you're not going to have a UTI forever. So even I'm thinking every time I take a medication, it's not doing what those things used to do. Well, I have MS and I'm older, but I'm wondering,
I think it's
you know,
more
not
your age than the MS where meds are concerned. Yeah. But I
was
don't know.
that really Rick?
For a
Yeah,
second.
that
What
was
did he
Rick.
do? Why did he look so different? He shaved?
He shaved his facial hair, and I wanted to say something because Karen, like you, I was like, he looks different.
Is
But I
that
think
Rick? I was like going, I thought it was just someone stepping in for him
It
to
was
make sure we're
him.
all behaving.
yeah, he's traveling, so
Yeah.
yeah.
Elizabeth.
Hi, Elizabeth.
Hi. Long,
Hi.
long
Long
I
time
time
no
no
see.
I know it's been so long. Tuesdays is the day when my kids have violin and piano lessons, and usually we're busy with homework right now. But they didn't have homework today because Valentine's Day.
Oh, that's
Ah,
nice.
Right now they're watching some educational stuff on YouTube. Hi, it's so good to see everybody. Hi, Karen and Frank. I see some new faces. And Tim, Jennifer.
How
Wow.
long you haven't been here? You have a life. Imagine.
Yeah, it gets a little
She has
busy.
kids.
And I just got over COVID
Oh,
Oh
the
no.
third time
Wow.
wow.
in this last since 2020. So that's why my voice is a little. How's everybody doing?
Good. Good,
good,
good.
I'm doing real good. Real good.
good,
Hey.
Hanging
good.
in there.
Yeah, it was a good meeting, and um, yeah, I think it was good. It was good to see everybody, and yeah.
Yeah.
Well, sorry I got here late, but it just dawned on me. Wait, it's Tuesday. What Tuesday is it? Then I checked my calendar and I
Well, better late than never, Elizabeth.
got. Thank you,
Absolutely.
Christy.
Yeah, yeah. And
Well, oh, go ahead.
no, go ahead, Tim.
I was just going to say the next one is on the 28th.
Yes.
And I know I had a problem with that too, with because I've got twin girls and I started the meeting, I had put them down. So I put it in my phone and my computer and my wall calendar,
Yeah.
all the, this meeting, veterans meeting, men speaking freely meeting. I'm just like, okay, I'm going to treat it like a job.
There's a solution to all of this. Don't
Oh
have
yeah.
kids. Be be
Too
like
late.
Christy and don't have kids.
Yeah. Hearing that about 9 years too late, 10 years too late.
Yeah. I mean,
I was gonna
it.
say birth control works just like MS meds. It doesn't fix what's already there.
Well, next week I have a surgery scheduled to permanently sterilize myself, and so no more, no more.
Yeah. Good.
Oh, that's big.
Good
Yeah.
luck.
Yeah, well, because I've always this might be TMI, but I've always kind of wondered about the copper IUD in me, what that does interacts with me. So I finally, it's like I'm just gonna do it. I'm just gonna get the surgery done and
Mhm.
see how it goes. I don't know if it'll help my symptoms at all, but it coincidentally it was right around the time. I think I don't know if I relapsed first or relapsed right after or before it got put in. So
Oh. Mm.
we'll
Yeah.
see.
I've been
Oh,
on Mirena for almost 3 years now, and I
how's
haven't
it?
had any symptoms
Oh,
at
that's
all.
good. Uh-huh.
Oh. And that's just so I don't have kids. So I'm being preventative. I'm too old for it now, and my husband's too old for it. But still, you don't want to. Oops, you're in your
Yeah.
40s and you're pregnant.
I, I'm gonna be turning 39 at the end of the month. I can't. No more. No more kids.
I have kids that I love, I spoil, and I send them home. That's the. I'm like the perfect aunt. Like
Oh, that's
they
awesome.
all, they love me, and I send them home, and I'm good. I get my baby fix.
Get your
I'm
fix.
good.
Yep.
So yeah, but
Jen,
yeah.
oh, I'm sorry. I was gonna ask if you and Frank could briefly explain what y'all are doing in Washington, because that sounds kind of interesting. Like, yeah.
Frank, do you want to explain it or you want me to screw it up and then you fix it?
I'll tell you what, you screw it up and I'll fix it if I think.
Okay, Frank, Dan, me, there are like about 200 MS advocates with the National MS Society, and it's public policy conference. So it gives us the opportunity. We advocate it like in our states, and this is giving us the opportunity for us all to go to Washington, D.C. and advocate and hopefully meet with our state legislators in DC, fingers crossed. And we just get together and talk about issues that are important to the society. But I'm not really sure. I'm meeting with my staff person from the society tomorrow to learn about what issues we're going to be discussing. So it's just an opportunity for a bunch of big mouth advocates to like unite and wear orange and storm the Capitol in a non-violent way.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Non-violent with your wheelchairs. Yeah.
Right,
Yeah,
with
exactly.
your canes and your walkers and
All wearing,
yeah.
all wearing orange.
All
That's
wearing
right.
orange. Yeah, and legislators that when we've gone in the past, they love how we all are wearing the orange and they can see us coming. Like here come the throngs of advocates in their orange pashminas and orange ties. So if you're interested in advocacy, get involved with the National MS Society because there's so many opportunities to meet with state and federal legislators. So, did I do okay, Frank?
And okay, the
All right.
idea is we're going to meet with every senator and every congressman in one day.
Oh,
You mean you're
wow.
gonna split up? You're gonna be
Yeah.
splitting up?
Yep.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
So,
awesome.
yeah.
I'm assuming that they do that in other states as well, but the Carolina whatever of the National MS Society does that in Raleigh, the capital of North Carolina,
Right.
specifically for North Carolina. So every year, so I've done that 2 or 3 times,
Yeah.
um, just at the state level. So that's awesome.
Yeah, because every state has a state action day for the MS Society. Like
Yep.
Frank will do it in Kansas, and Dan and I'll do it here in Michigan. Louis can do it in Texas. And, so it's just the opportunity to speak with your state legislators, and then we can all, we meet with. Fortunately, I've met with our congressman here in Michigan when he's in district, or our state senators when they're here in the state. But this is our opportunity to meet with them in DC.
Yeah,
Right.
So
the senior senator from Kansas, I went to school with. So I got a little insight, little way in
Mhm.
there that
yeah, I knew you when.
I knew you in. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
As a matter of fact, he even had to defend my mother in court when he was the county attorney.
Wow.
Do you all stay in the same hotel?
Yep.
Mhm.
Then you pay your own way?
No, some of it, some of it we are going to pay for, but it's the MS Society provides lodging. So this is our opportunity to advocate. So
And have a real powwow, a big one in person.
yeah. So
Right? Is this
it's
the first time since 2020?
yeah,
Yeah.
since 2020. So it's going to be good.
Did you have it in 2020? Because that's about when, just right in the middle of March is, yeah, so you had it.
We
Right
had
before the
it.
shutdown.
We were flying home, and we were sitting on the airplane, and the man that sat next to Dan pulled out like um like Clorox wipes to wipe everything down, and we were like, "Oh, seriously, you're being so over dramatic." And then 2 months later, the whole world stopped. So
Mhm.
it was,
2 week, like a week later.
Yeah, like
yeah,
a
It was
week later. Yeah.
it was March 17th, and I remember because my husband is still working from home,
yeah.
and he it was like literally March 17th, and it's like everything shut down, and his company, everybody's working from home, and they decided some people who are working from home are indefinite now, so my husband is home all the time, which is nice because if anything happens to me, he's here. um I just need to get my butler bell so that I can ring my bell and have him come assist me. But it was March 17th, and I remember that vividly. So sad that I remember something so to the point on that, but everything else I forget. Yay.
There was a lot of emotion involved with that happening, so I'm not at all surprised that it's seared into your brain.
Mhm. So
I need to, it's getting kind of late here on the East Coast. I'm going to go, but before I do, I just want to say thank you all so much for your support tonight. I really appreciate it.
Well, and Andrea, we're always here. So we're thinking, and yeah.
Well, if that's one thing that I can say that came out good from COVID was that it drove me to look for a support group online, and I am very grateful to have met and to be getting to know you guys, and so thank you.
Yeah, well,
yeah,
thank you for sharing with us, and take care. And our
Trusting
next
us.
meeting,
Yeah.
like Tim said, is in 2 weeks on the 28th.
And thank you.
Unfortunately, I'll be in Puerto Rico.
Oh,
oh,
Darn,
bummer.
Poor me.
for you.
So
did you find out
unfortunate.
where in Puerto Rico in the end? Remember, you weren't sure where you were going to go.
Well,
Did you find out?
there's an Airbnb that we're staying in,
Do you know
but
what
it's
town? What town you're
you
in?
you knew the town. You said it.
No, Agua Dia Airport, but
Oh, no, that's as much as I know.
oh, okay.
Fair enough.
Have a
Even
wonderful
even when
time.
I come back, I'm not sure I'm going to be able to give you an answer, but I'll try to remember when I'm there.
Well, have fun.
Have
Thank
fun.
you. Y'all have a good
Fun.
night.
You
Thank
too.
Good
Good
night.
In a
night.
couple
you.
Okay.
Well, I think I'm gonna hop off too because I gotta get these kids ready for bed. It's so
Well,
good to see everybody.
You
yeah,
too,
good
Elizabeth.
to see
It's good to see you.
everybody.
All
And
right. Good
I
night,
will.
guys.
Good night.
Good
Take
night.
care.
You
Take
too.
care. Bye bye.
And Tim, I'm going to